Okay. All right. So we might be a few minutes early. Let's just check the time. Yeah, a couple of minutes still to go. Hi, Paula. Lovely that you can join me today. Okay. So, welcome to this mindfulness taster session. My name is Ben. I'm a mindfulness teacher here at the IFLI Term Practice. Our session today will talk about the basic philosophies that underpin the practice of mindfulness. We'll have a go at a guided meditation, and I'll also share some tips to help you start your own practice. If you're joining me live, I would suggest that you find a space where you can either sit or lie comfortably, and make sure you won't be disturbed as much as possible. Okay. Hello, Nancy. Thank you for joining us. What exactly is mindfulness? So I'm sure many of you will have heard about mindfulness. You might have read about it in a magazine or seen something on the internet, but there are a lot of misconceptions that are sort of around about mindfulness. So mindfulness essentially is a practice. It's a practice of personal development, and its origins lie in ancient Buddhist traditions, and in more recent times many of those ancient Buddhist ideas have been brought into the modern secular world. A group of American scientists and psychotherapists around about the 1970s decided to take these ideas, repackage them for a modern Western audience, and they stripped away a lot of the spirituality and some of the iconography that was involved with those Buddhist practices, and presented it as a therapy for stress and anxiety, and they called it mindfulness. It's been phenomenally successful since then. As I said, there's often lots of interest and coverage in the news and online. But one of the reasons it's been so successful is that it is very effective at dealing with stress and anxiety. Obviously, to say it's been a stressful year would be the understatement of the century, and the challenges seem to be coming thick and fast. So I think mindfulness offers a really powerful solution to a lot of the problems that modern life is throwing up for us all. And again, I see more of you joining in. Thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you enjoy the session. So mindfulness, it comes from this, it stems from Buddhist traditions, but it's been repackaged into this sort of modern secular version. And it essentially refers to a particular state of conscious awareness. So it means a state of mind where we are focused on our present moment experience. But when we do this, we do it in a non-judgmental and accepting way. So we are able to experience whatever is happening without analysing it, without judging it, and just allowing that experience, whatever it may be, whether it be good, bad or indifferent, to be just as it is. And when we can do this, it helps us to let go of a lot of the things that cause stress and anxiety in our life. And mindfulness is particularly effective at bringing on our relaxation response. Many of us, especially in the modern world today, are for large amounts of our time, we're in this sort of fight or flight mode, maybe at a low level, but you're there. We're in the active doing mode, and we're not really spending enough time in a more passive being mode, which is where this relaxation response can be brought online. We haven't got that balance in our lives at the moment, and I think mindfulness again is a way to help restore that balance and to find more equilibrium even in our busy modern lives. So mindfulness, it helps reduce stress, it helps combat anxiety, it helps us to find gentle and ways to relax and find calm and stillness in our lives. It also helps us to be less reactive and more conscious about our choices and how we act. When you're in that present moment awareness, you can choose to act more according to your values rather than sort of being in a more reactive mode. And I think again that's something that we're all finding quite difficult at the moment, and we're all having our beliefs and our feelings about the world challenged, and it can be very easy to react quite negatively in those situations and perhaps do things that we wouldn't normally do, or say things that we wouldn't normally say. And again, mindfulness allows us a little bit of space just to choose to react slightly differently, or more consciously, more conscious, act from a place of wisdom as opposed to pure reactivity. Great to see some comments coming in here from Rachel. Did an MBCT course with Oxford on Zoom. Yeah, got to do it daily. Hard to do daily. Yes, yes, absolutely, it is. I will try and answer some of your questions at the end of the session, but for now, I'll just plow on with the taster session. Okay. It helps us be more conscious of our choices and our actions, gets us more into the being mode rather than the doing mode. It also shows us something very important, which is that you are not your thoughts. We generally tend to identify with the churn of thoughts that goes through our minds constantly. We see that as who we are, and that's what defines us. But actually, you're not. You're something more than that, and the thoughts are something that you are just experiencing, and they don't have to define you in any way. Mindfulness again helps us to find a space just behind the thoughts so that we can observe them, allow them to be as they are, but without making them being judgmental about them towards ourselves or to anybody else. So freeing yourself from that sort of mental tyranny of the sort of various different types of thoughts that you can have is very liberating, and it helps us to see the world and our life with much more clarity, and helps us to live in a way that is more in tune with our own values. So there are a lot of benefits to practicing mindfulness, health benefits, both mental and physical, and there tends to be a sort of a knock-on effect into your everyday life as well, where you start making choices that are just taking you to the place you want to be, as opposed to being stuck in a place where perhaps you're not so happy. And there's a general opening up, a widening of horizons, both physical and mental. So it's a very powerful practice, but it is a practice. So it's not just an abstract idea or a concept, and you can't just read about it or watch a video about it or do a few little things. It's something you have to do consistently as part of a healthy lifestyle. So in the same way as you would exercise on a regular basis to maintain physical health, mindfulness in the same way needs to be practiced regularly, and there's no sort of particular end point or target you have to get to. In this, it's just about healthy practices that develop healthy mind and body. So yeah, I mean it's something you ultimately have to embody, and the way you do that is by practicing on a regular basis. The practice itself is, broadly speaking, split into two parts. You have the formal practice of mindfulness, which is where we do particular guided or non-guided meditations, which are specifically designed to bring about the mindful state as you practice them. Most of the techniques are very simple, but they can be quite hard to do. They're quite challenging because our minds always want to be busy and constantly judging and analysing. So training it not to do that isn't easy, but as I said, many of the techniques that we use are very simple. And we'll have a go at one of those in a moment. The other side of mindfulness practice is the informal side. And this involves simple techniques, again, where you're looking to bring your mindfulness out into your everyday life. Even sort of simple things like stopping to every now and again just to take a single breath and focusing on your breath as you do it, or focusing on a particular activity that is sort of mundane, and instead of letting your mind just sort of wander and float around during that task, you'd be focusing on the experiences and the sensations involved in that task. And there's just a couple of examples of the kind of things that the informal practice involves. But basically, ultimately, you want to have both sides of the practice working. Most people tend to start with the formal practice, the meditations, and that's great, and they're really good, really helpful. But a complete practice involves both formal and informal aspects, and they're mutually supporting, and they really sort of empower each other. And when you get both going at the same time, then you really do start to notice the benefits from your practice. So that's the basic nature of mindfulness and mindfulness practice. So what I'd like to do now is just take you through a simple guided mindfulness meditation. And what we're going to do in a moment is we're going to be focusing on the sensations of breathing. And we choose the sensations of breathing as our focus for a number of reasons. One, it's obviously quite naturally rhythmical and gentle, and when we focus on the breath, it helps bring on that relaxation response. Some people can find it a bit difficult, especially if they have breathing problems or something like that, so just be aware of that. And if at any point during the meditation you feel uncomfortable or unhappy, then just come out of the meditation and just do what you need to do. But we focus on the breath because of its rhythmical nature. It's naturally relaxing. It's always there for us, so it's available to you any time of the day. You can just take a mindful breath at any point during your day. But the main reason we focus on the breath is because ultimately you can only ever breathe in the present moment. You can't breathe in the past and you can't breathe in the future. So if you're focusing on your breath, you are by definition in the present moment. So that's why we choose it as our focus. But what you'll notice is, in a moment I'm going to ask you to sort of sit or lie down, close your eyes and focus on your breath. What you'll probably notice is that as you do this, your mind will start to drift off and go off in different directions. And the first thing to know is that that's okay. That's not a failure. That doesn't mean you can't do it. It doesn't mean it's you're doing anything wrong. In fact, it's an opportunity to be mindful. So as you notice your mind wandering, that's when you're being mindful. So fine, your mind wanders, let that happen, notice that it has wandered, and then bring your attention back to the meditation. And in that moment, you are being mindful. And the more you do that, the more consistently you can notice that your mind has wandered and bring it back to the focus of your attention, then the better you get at holding your attention on whatever it is you're focusing on. You literally develop your muscle of attention. And holding your one thing, again, has been shown to be very effective as a means of developing all these mental and physical health benefits. Okay. So, right, let's give it a go. So if any of you are sitting for this, just make sure your feet are firmly on the floor, that your lower back is supported, and maybe put a cushion in just behind your lower back, and that you're comfortable, but you're sitting in a nice alert position. So as we practice, we want to be in a mindful position as well, but don't worry too much about your posture or anything like that. The main thing is to focus on your breath, but try as much as you can to sort of maintain a nice calm but alert position. If you're lying down, there's always the slight danger you might fall asleep, so you might want to set an alarm. But again, you can do it lying down. Just put a cushion under your head and lie on something soft, and just let your arms relax down by your sides. Okay, so when you're ready, hopefully you've all got yourself into a nice position. Just take a moment to think about what's your intention for this next five or so minutes. We're just going to be focusing on the sensations of breathing and using those sensations to anchor, to bring us into the present moment. Okay, so when you're ready, when it feels comfortable, just close your eyes. And as you close your eyes, your attention will naturally turn inwards. So just take a moment and see what's happening in your mind and body right now. Notice any thoughts. Notice any sensations. Notice any feelings. And whatever it is you are experiencing, it doesn't really matter. You don't have to change anything. Just allow whatever you're experiencing to be just as it is. You're just observing it. And when you're ready, bring your attention to the sensations of breathing. And you may notice the air coming in through your nose or mouth. Or your ribs as they expand and contract. Or the gentle rise and fall of your abdomen. And however you're breathing, it's okay. Doesn't matter if it's fast or slow, or if it's shallow or deep. Just let your breath do whatever it wants to do. And all you're doing is watching. Watching your breath as it comes and goes. And if your mind wanders, if you're distracted by sensations or thoughts or sounds, that's okay. Just notice that your mind has wandered. And then gently bring your attention back to the breath. Using the breath to bring you into the present moment. Letting your breath just flow in and flow out. And all you're doing is sitting here, breathing in and breathing out. Just being present with your breath in this moment. There's nothing you have to do right now. And there's nowhere you have to be. Just be here now, watching your breath. Maybe noticing the sound of your breath. And seeing the rhythm and the rate. Or noticing the brief pause at the end of the in-breath, just before you breathe out. And again at the end of the out-breath, just before you breathe in. Really narrow your focus onto the sensations of breathing. Notice when your mind wanders and bring your attention back to the breath. Back to this moment. Know that the breath is always there for you. A place of stillness and peace whenever you need it. You're just sitting here, breathing in and breathing out. Present with your breath in this moment. Now when you're ready, take a nice deep breath in, the deepest breath you've taken all day. And as you breathe out, let go of any stress or worry. Let it flow out with your breath. Maybe take one more nice deep breath in. And breathe out and relax. Let your body go loose. Bringing your attention away from the breath now, and back to your body as a whole. Feeling your connection with the floor. Gently moving your fingers and toes. Moving your neck and your shoulders. As you gradually come back to the room. And when you're ready, open your eyes. So just take a moment. Notice how you feel. Try and stay present. Bring that sense of mindfulness with you. And see if you can hold on for it as you go about your day. Okay. So I hope you all enjoyed that meditation. I hope you found it relaxing. As you can see, it's not a particularly complex or difficult technique, but yeah, you can see how perhaps it's difficult perhaps to maintain your attention, and your mind is easily distracted, or you're pulled away to sensations in your body or sounds outside. And as I said before, that's all perfectly normal. It's all part of the process. Even the most experienced meditators still have thoughts running through their heads. You can't stop the thoughts from coming. The only time your thoughts stop, I should imagine, is when you die. So you want the thoughts to keep coming. The trick to handling those thoughts is to see them as just something that's passing by. You observe the thoughts as they arise. You try not to judge or analyze them, and then you let them go, and then you don't follow them. And you can even use the thoughts as the focus of your meditation, and then you watch them arise and let them go. So you never have to sort of clear your mind of thoughts. That's one of the sort of many myths that surround mindfulness. Thank you, Rachel. I'm glad you enjoyed that. And yes, you will get the opportunity to replay this again. And I'll let you know at the end of the session as well a couple of other things. We've got a few other tools that you can use. So that's the kind of classic mindfulness meditation, and there are lots of different techniques, lots of different ways to practice mindfulness in the formal way. So if that one didn't work for you, that's okay. There's many other techniques that you can use. But that's the formal practice. There's also the informal practice as well. Now, the big trick really to practicing mindfulness is doing it on a regular basis, and this is the stumbling block that most people encounter. The techniques are perfectly accessible and doable, but it's making it a part of your regular daily life that is often what's the most difficult. So before we finish, I'm just going to share a few simple tips to help you set up a regular practice. And the first thing I would say is to keep it simple and keep it small. So most people try and sort of meditate too much too early, and you're better off as a beginner just starting with short 3 to 5 minute meditations that you can easily fit into anybody's busy life. Everyone's got a sort of 3 to 5 minute window where they can just take 5 minutes to either do a breath awareness or a body scan or whatever it might be. Have a plan. So don't expect to become a sort of a Zen master within the first couple of weeks. Give yourself plenty of time to sort of develop your practice, but have a clear plan. Identify how, where, and when you can practice. So the right space, a nice quiet room with a chair or a bed. The right technique for you. So find a technique that suits you. The right time. So find a time that's going to work for you in your week. And everyone's got that 5 minute window. It might be first thing in the morning. It might be before you go to sleep at night. It might be at work in your lunch hour. And communicate to people around you so that they know what you're doing, and then you're less likely to get disturbed. I mean, I think ideally it is better to start with some kind of formal training, a course or something like that. It just helps, gives you plenty of advice and tips to set up your practice. But essentially it's perfectly achievable with a little bit of discipline and a bit of hard work. And the benefits, once you do set it up, are really significant, so it's well worth that effort. That's mindfulness in a nutshell. There's obviously a lot more to it, and at the practice we offer 4-week beginners courses and 8-week sort of more fundamental and intensive courses. And once you finish with our courses, we offer a regular sort of top-up class. I would encourage you, if you're interested, to either come and join one of our classes, or there's lots of other classes out there, and you can go and find those and learn the basics and really get to grips with it. And we've also got, if you'd like to try some more guided meditations, if you go to our YouTube channel, if you go to our website, in the top right hand corner you can access our YouTube channel, and there's some more guided meditations on there that you can have a go at. There's a body scan and a mantra meditation and a visualization meditation, and they're all very simple but tricky techniques as well. So have a go at those. I will answer any questions in the comments section when I finish the video, and I will be looking, I think, maybe to do another one of these in a couple of weeks' time. So, and I'll let you all know about that as well. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that session, and thank you so much, all of you, for joining me today. And I look forward to doing another one in a few weeks' time. All right, enjoy your day and take care. Bye bye.